Well, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. I'm thrilled to be back after summer break. We typically stockpile enough podcasts to take us through the summer so that we can come back refreshed and raring to go. And that is exactly what I'm feeling today. So our first guest is someone I've been wanting to interview for so long. I saw this amazing YouTube video one day, and we'll get into all that shortly. But welcome to the podcast, Lisa Vlooswyk. I am so excited to talk to you. Your nickname is Lisa Longball. Tell everybody what that means.
Well, Jane, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you and your guests. So Lisa Longball. So I married a Dutchman. This is why you don't marry Dutch people. No one can spell or pronounce your name. So
Vlooswyk,
Vlooswyk, you nailed it,
Vlooswyk.
actually, Jane. You nailed it. But it's so basically, I started off, I was an elementary school teacher, junior high school teacher, absolutely passionate about teaching, educating. And I discovered this weird, freaky ability to hit a golf ball a long way. So I ended up, I went to my first long drive competition, which is trying to hit a golf ball as far as humanly possible. And I won with a 313-yard drive with a set of clubs from Costco. So that's where it all started. And I ended up winning my first national title in Toronto. And then I ended up coming top 10 in the world. And all of a sudden I had this opportunity to become the best in the world at a sport. And although I loved teaching, was passionate about teaching, I knew I couldn't do both. And my husband said, Lisa, you have a limited chance to be the best in the world in something, do it. And so I signed my resignation letter and I became Lisa Longball.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So your longest drive ever. And so I'm a golfer. I've got my golf attire for those of you watching on YouTube. I said dress casually because this is the theme today. Tell everybody what your longest drive has been.
So my longest drive in competition, so I only count in competition, like when I was at Kapalua in Maui, downhill, downwind, I did it 416. Oh, isn't Kapalua? The whales, there's whales breaching in the background.
Amazing thing you'll ever see.
Right? How am I supposed to focus on golf when there's whales? There's whales jumping in the background.
Precisely. Yes.
So in non-competition, 416 yards was my longest, but that was downhill, downwind.
Yeah.
In competition, dead flat grid, no wind, 350 yards, 2 feet, 2 inches. I was the first woman to ever hit it over 3.5 NFL football fields in competition.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this is why my husband is so impressed with you. I am also. I'm very lucky. 150, 170, that's like a huge deal if I actually, hit the sweet spot. So I love talking to you, but about golf, but there's some things that you have done. One night I'm watching Hockey Night in Canada, and there's Lisa Longball being talked about at the intermission. Tell everybody about that particular viral video sensation and what was kind of some of the fallout. I don't even know if that's been your biggest video or not.
Oh, Jane, that was that, and there's one in a robe and a house coat reading a Golf Digest and sipping a cup of coffee.
I saw
Those
that
two are probably my biggest. So basically, Jane, over the pandemic, I found that there was a lot of negativity on social media.
Yes.
So I thought, you know what? I want to post something positive, just something to make people laugh and smile. So although I'm, a professional golfer and a keynote speaker, and I run my own golf schools, I have this whole separate Lisa Longball. My secret passion is wake surfing. So wake surfing is you're behind a boat, you're on a board, and there's no rope. A lot of people say, well, where's the rope? And there is no rope. So you have to have a special boat that creates a wave that you are actually surfing. And so a lot of people find it difficult. You would start by getting up with a rope, and then you drop the rope when you would find kind of the pocket, and you can start surfing. So people find it difficult just to drop the rope. But for me, I love it. I was a former gymnast, and that's what I credit my long drive acumen to. But it also helps me with wake surfing. So I started surfing behind my boat, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put on a costume. I always wear a life jacket. But the video you're referring to, I put on goalie gear. So I had a mask, I had a blocker, I had a glove, I had the goalie stick. I forgot pants. That was the one thing I forgot to steal, my son's hockey pants. But I had the jersey, I had everything else. And my son was throwing pucks at me, which of course were foam. And we went back and picked up afterwards. We picked those up afterwards. But He was throwing pucks. My mom was filming it. My husband was driving the boat. And this video went viral because I was a surfing goalie. And that was when the NHL had its very first season ever in the summertime. So Kelly Rudy put me on Hockey Night in Canada.
Oh my gosh.
It went viral.
Oh my gosh. So I'm watching this video and I'm thinking, wow, she makes I always call it wakeboarding, but I guess it's wake surfing.
Wakeboarding is when there's boots. So when
Okay, see, that's what we have. And my grandson, and we pull him behind the jet ski with the boots on. And
yeah, that's wakeboarding.
But I don't think that that looks like something I could do. But when you do it, you make it look easy. And I'm just getting ready to turn 60. And I'm like, I don't know. Do I want to risk it? We no longer have a boat that would do anything like that because we just downsized to a pontoon, or slow sized to a pontoon. You cannot wakeboard.
But it has a barbecue. It has a barbecue and a fridge probably on it.
As a barbecue, no fridge, but a barbecue.
No fridge, but a barbecue.
Anyway, so that's kind of an analogy of where we are in life, right? We moved away from the jet boat to the pontoon. But so anyway, you made it look so easy that I wanted to try it, but I don't know that that's going to happen because I don't have a wake boat. But
well, actually though, but Jane, just because I know you're kind of in the cottage country area, or you have access to cottage country area. I'm from Alberta. I know you're from Ontario. But what's interesting is you're only going 10 miles an hour. So it's actually basically what happens is when you no longer, if you can't surf anymore, or you lose the wave, you just simply fall it, just
float into the water.
So it's actually, if any of your viewers are interested in trying it, it's actually much safer than wakeboarding. Because it's a less risk of injury just because you're going so much slower. So,
and you can use the rope to get up.
Absolutely. So often what you do, you'd be in the water, use the rope to get up, then you kind of pull yourself in to what they call the pocket, where you kind of feel that the board's just kind of going on its own. Then you throw the rope into the boat.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I was never really very good at skateboarding, so I just don't know if this is for me. So anyway, you just make it look so easy. Okay. So we're going to put a link to that particular video, but what should people Google if they want to see that video?
Absolutely. And actually, Jane, one more thing about that video. So not only was it in Hockey Night in Canada, after air there, Pepsi and Lay's potato chips asked me if they could use it in their commercials over the Stanley Cup final. So,
oh my gosh.
Well, that's what I'm saying to your viewers. It was pretty cool. So if they would like to see that video, or because of that, all my followers started saying, Lisa, do more. So as I said, I did one in a house coat. I've done baseball. I've done like Toronto Raptors, Blue Jays. So if you want to see them, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Lisa Longball. Go to playlists, and under playlists, you'll find wake surfing videos. You'll also find golf instructional videos, all for free, if anyone is interested in helping either become a better wake surfer or learn how to hit 300-yard bombs.
So we really want to talk today about 3 kind of things that I think you have done brilliantly. And you just shared with me before you started that your business has exploded. We want to talk about going viral. We want to talk about sponsorship, and we want to talk about collabs. Tell me, continuing on the going viral theme, how did that affect your speaking business?
Well, interestingly enough, so first of all, the wake surfing videos, those were great. Like, I had so many people engaging with me, checking me out. And then they would go to the link in my bio, they'd go to my website. So all of a sudden I had many requests for people that found me because of a fun video and then wanted more. And so would click on, again, as I said, links into my bio or whichever else. And we're able to say, oh, wow, she, runs golf schools. Oh, she's a keynote speaker. Oh, I can bring her to my conference and convention. How fun would that be? So I think that for your speakers out there, obviously you're professional speakers, you're kicking butt out there, you're doing great, but how do you drive business to your website? I think what's unique about yourself? What is it that you do that's fun? What do you love? And whether it be hiking, skiing, biking, painting, whatever it is that you do, could you do something fun? Could you do something super fun in a video sense to pull people in and say, geez, I want more? And that's what I found with my wake surfing. Here it was just a hobby, just a passion on the side that absolutely had led to business.
Nice. And one of the things that you can be doing, talk a little bit about keywords, like on YouTube, and this is a question that I'm just asking because I don't know the answer to it. do you try to own, like if I were you, I would want to own Lisa Longball, long ball hitter, keynote speaker. Like, let's make sure that whenever they see your description, keynote speaker is in there so that people are like, oh, okay, interesting.
Absolutely.
So what kind of keywords are you using on, and it's a universal change I think you make on your YouTube channel to put in the keyword descriptions. Like, I'm wondering if you can put in things like how to get paid to speak. Like, is that, I don't even know the answer to this. What kind of keywords are you using?
Well, I definitely, what I have also found, you don't want to inundate people with 20, 30 keywords. So definitely
Okay.
narrow it down to 10 or less is what I would say.
10
And
or
then,
less.
yeah, absolutely. Using those keywords. And the other thing is we want to be creative as speakers. We want to say, we are, you try to use these fancy words to describe yourself. Is that what people are Googling? No,
Searching.
it's
Yes.
not.
No.
Keynote speaker, motivational speaker, inspirational speaker, even though maybe that's not what you want to be, if that's your genre, maybe that's not what you give so much more than that, but you have to remember, what is your customer Googling or searching?
Yes.
So that's what you have to look at that way. So definitely using those hashtags, keynote speaker, motivational, if you have a motivational bent, inspirational, but thinking of words that just the average Joe would Google, not what looks pretty on your website, because that's not going to maximize your SEO.
Okay, I want to get to sponsorships, but I also want to backtrack it just a little bit. You were a teacher, then you turn golf long ball hitter. Is golf long ball hitting like a full-time, it's become a full-time gig for you, but is it a full-time gig for everybody?
No, it is not lucrative. Let's
Like,
just
how
put it
many
that way.
competitions do you have a year for long ball hitting?
Well, right, that's the issue. So to be best in the world, you're training 6 days a week, working out, hitting balls, the competitions, the travel. Purses are often quite small. Now they have started to grow, but then with the pandemic happening, that kind of shut everything down again. So it's just starting to pick back up again, just starting to be televised again, and that hasn't happened for us since 2019. So it took a real hit that way. But I think what again, if I can share anything with your viewers, is that diversification. So yes, I'm a long ball hitter. That's a passion. But from that, I became, again, I used, what are your strengths? For me, I knew I was an educator. So that's when I would go out to these corporate and charity tournaments. So I would be hired as an entertainer. So in addition to competing, then I started going to corporate and charity tournaments. I would stand on a par 5, hit balls for guests, raise money for charity. The company would pay me to do that. But then from those opportunities, then I had speaking opportunities at the dinner. Then I was asked, oh, Lisa, could you do a keynote speech? Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, gosh, Jane, I had never done a keynote speech in my life. Well, yes, I'm going to become a keynote speaker. And so it's almost sometimes trial by fire, but it's the ability to wear different hats and to say yes to that left-hand turn. So in terms of the Lisa Longball business, so yes, I'm a professional athlete and competing, although I've had a rotator cuff injury. So I haven't, well, and with the pandemic, of course, and not being able to travel, so I wasn't able to compete this year. I'm hoping to be back competing next year. But in addition to that, so then I do corporate and charity golf tournaments as an entertainer, but then I just diversified as well to say, you know what, I go to all these tournaments, Jane, and 75 to 85% of the attendees are men. Where are the women? And I realized that there are so many golf is a key business networking skill. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. How do we get women more comfortable and confident to get out on the golf course to make those business deals happen? So I started my own golf school as an educator. I started my own golf schools. How can I help women say yes to those corporate and charity tournament invitations? And then that led to keynote speaking. And so again, I wear many different hats as part of Lisa Longball. And that's because if I was just a long drive champion, no, that would be tough to pay the bills.
Yes, I that's what I was wondering, because you have to wonder how many times a year you get to compete. Okay. So we're talking about you. I watch you on YouTube, and I watch you on your social media feed, and I'm thinking, wow, you have so many like collaborations and sponsors. So let's break it down to sponsorship first. Tell me about, how does sponsorships work for you, and how does that result in money in the bank?
So for me, again, being one of the best long drivers in the world, or proving my way along that path, I was sponsored by Nike for 11 years until they stopped making golf equipment. After that, I was absolutely thrilled to be part of the Callaway golf team. So that's a worldwide major brand. So here I'm a 40-something-year-old mom, and I'm a Callaway athlete. And so for me, like, in talk about in terms of brand exposure, Callaway said, Lisa, we would like for you to be our model in our fall catalog. And they flew me down to Dallas, to the Dallas Cowboys golf course. And I'm thinking, you have a whole bunch of 20-year-old beautiful LPGA Tour players, but Callaway believes in women as athletes. But from that, Jane, is this tremendous exposure. But I drove straight to Nordstrom's. I bought the most expensive pair of Spanx I could buy, right? 10 pounds of jelly in a 5-pound bag. No muffin top. No muffin top. But it's creating those, so finding brands that align with what you do, and then they're promoting you. So, and then I'm also so I'm still with Nike Vision, and then also a huge sponsor of mine is Golf Town. So Golf Town believes in women's golf, and they sponsor the incredible Brooke Henderson, and I was honored to be their second athlete that they sponsored. And that's actually the videos that I did with Golf Town that led to just incredible business.
Okay, so I've been watching that. You've been making your way across Canada. So Lisa is a Canadian. Brooke Henderson is one of our top Canadian golf professionals. You've been making your way across Canada to Golf Town locations to teach, to be there, to create something, and bring women into the stores. So what we're looking for in a sponsorship deal, number one, I'm assuming you got paid handily for that.
Yes.
And all your travel is covered and everything.
Oh, yes.
And so rather than going and giving a series of speeches necessarily, you're doing appearances and things like that. So when you're negotiating that type of a deal, how do you like get up the confidence to stand tall in what you're worth? I think people can get a little bit intimidated. Oh, it's Callaway. Oh,
yes.
Ooh, they're a big company. I'm just little old me. I shouldn't charge too much. Talk about your fees and how they've gone up for things like sponsorships. Like Golf Town is now, but what was it like when you first started?
Well, that's a great question, because I've been with Golf Town for about 7 years now, and they have been spectacular. So I've been pretty lucky in that they have seen my worth. But we just renegotiated a contract in the last couple of months, and I asked for a jump, and I had to justify. But you have to be able to justify and say, I have done this and this and this, and this is the amount of viewers.
Right.
This is the amount. So you have to be able. You can't just ask for it. You can't just ask for, I want this much money. You need to be able to say, hey, this is the value I'm bringing, but you need to own that.
Yes.
You need to own that and believe in that. And again, partner with people that can. But the other thing, Jane, I think that it also comes from a point of reciprocity. So over the pandemic, Golf Town has 47 stores across Canada. All of their stores were shut down, all businesses, right? So stores were shut down. So they were still paying lease, heat, electricity, all their employees, yet they weren't making any sales from inside the stores. So they had reached out to me and said, Lisa, Canadians are golf crazy. For our American counterparts, many Americans get to play golf year round, because if they live in a beautiful state that has year-round golf. I know there's many in the United States that don't, but there are several that do. But Canadians, by March and April, we are dying for golf. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. Well, Golf Town asked me to do these videos. And at first they said, Lisa, people are at home, they're missing golf. Could you maybe just start from your basement? I said, absolutely. So all I had, my carpet, that's all I had, my carpet, my clubs, and just my cell phone camera. That's how I started. And a ring light. I bought a ring light.
And so what was your first video, your first instructional video? What were you teaching?
So I started with the basics. I thought, you know what? I knew I was going to be doing a series of several weeks, 3 times a week. I started with warm-up, grip, posture. Let's go with the fundamentals. Nice. And then I thought, I get to be with these people 3 times a week. These viewers from all across Canada is what I thought. And then I would expand all the way how to hit 300+ yard drives. Well, Jane, these videos exploded. I was getting millions of views through the Golf Town Facebook channel. I did them as Facebook Lives. millions of views, and then they would repurpose them on Twitter and Instagram. I had people from all over the United States, all from Australia, Singapore, London, all reaching out to me. Lisa, oh my gosh, people told me I was their COVID girlfriend, that they would look so forward to watching my videos. And then when they finally, of course, golf was the first safe social distancing sport, people said, oh my gosh, Lisa, I added 30, 40 yards to my drives. I had a round with no 3 putts. Lisa, I could chip the flamingo. So all of a sudden the videos just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And more, they just shared them. People just were sharing them. And then this is the part I want to share with your viewers. So Golf Town came to me afterwards, because we didn't even discuss fee at the part. Like, I have a sponsorship fee, and then when I do events, there'd be separate payment for the events, but I have a main sponsorship fee. And they said, Lisa, what can we pay you for those videos? And you know what I said, Jane? Nothing. Because I knew that my sponsor was hurting. That was a very difficult time for them.
Nice.
And so I didn't charge $1 for any of those videos. And you know what? I do believe in karma. I do believe in good things happening.
Yes.
Because I did that, my business, my golf schools, I just launched last week, Orlando. They sold out. I have 2 golf schools that sold out in less than 3 minutes. And I'm launching Phoenix tomorrow. And my golf schools are selling out in less than 5 minutes. And I 100% credit the free videos that I did. I didn't charge $1 for them. I wanted to help out my sponsor, who's been so good to me. And this ended up happening organically.
Nice. Karma is my boyfriend. I love it. So smart and so good. And I think it's really important to recognize when somebody that you're partnered with is hurting, you can give them a hand up in this time, and it's going to come back and pay off. Okay. Exactly. So one of the line items I'm thinking that you can now work into every contract for whatever it is social reach. I'm going to put out to my ex, what is your social reach at this point? How many YouTube followers? What's your combined social reach?
Well, I haven't, it's funny. So I haven't added them all up, but I know for Instagram, for instance, I'm over 21,000. But what's more key is I have the blue check mark. So I have a blue check mark with Instagram, and Twitter now you can buy the blue check mark. But I do think being verified, I do think that is a worthwhile endeavor for people. I think it gives you validity, especially if you're more of a quote unquote celebrity, or that you have something special. But as a keynote speaker, you are a celebrity. You are a celebrity in the speaking industry. And so again, it's the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So you need to look pro. You need to look like I'm the top at what I'm doing. And again, that starts with how you do your social media, how you put yourself out there. And if you don't have if you can get a blue check mark and you don't have one, why? Because to me, that's you're telling your followers, oh, they're verified. You know, that's a trusted resource.
Okay, that's something to think about for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about sponsorships, and I just want to run through some things for people who aren't necessarily haven't thought about it. Think about who wants to also get in front of the audience you want to get in front of. So let's say you are going after realtors. You know, there are a lot of people who want to nuzzle up to real estate. Maybe it's a mortgage broker. Maybe it's, I don't know, somebody who makes the signs. There's all kinds of pieces to the real estate puzzle, and you want to be able to collaborate or get a sponsorship with somebody who has the same interests as you. So it could be somebody that you go to a RE/MAX conference and you see, oh, they have like 10 sponsors. Let me talk to each of the sponsors and see whether or not they might want to take me on a cross-country tour, and they can be the hero because they've brought me in to help you boost your sales or whatever it might be.
Absolutely, Jane. That's exactly what you need to do. I think that so many, especially when I first started as a speaker, I felt like a neophyte. And, you know, I would be in the presence of all the CAPS Hall of Famers and NSA, of course, the National Speakers Association. And you look like, oh, these are the giants of our industry. I'm just so new. But you know what? We do have worth. We do have something to say. We we do have a voice and we have value. And so, as you said, approaching those sponsors, that idea of the cross Canada tour, and again, so that cross Canada tour helps all of their clients and the people that they want to impress, but it also increases your exposure and into the markets. And you talk about collabs. One other thing I'd like to suggest to your viewers and listeners is that find other people who are doing what you do in your space and collaborate with them. For instance, it was actually, I was approached by a young woman named Tori Totlis. She's absolutely amazing. She's from Phoenix, Arizona. She does these events. She's hired me as a speaker. So she's hired me to come to her events because she saw my videos were so popular and people were always sharing them and talking about them. She's in the women's golf space. So she hired me to come down, and I taught some clinics down there, and I emceed the dinner, and it was such a successful relationship. But then part of my contract with her, Lisa, could you please do 3 social media spots with me? So that was her ask, and we collaborated. And so, for instance, on Instagram, you can collaborate, and then when one person posts, you agree to the collaboration, and it goes to both of your channels or your
followers. Yes,
exactly. And just when she posted, so I did 3 2-minute videos. When she posted the first one, I had 5,000 new followers that day.
Like that.
5,000 new followers, because her followers fell in love with me and they followed me. And then my followers loved her and started following her. So who's doing what you're doing in your space that has a great number of social media followers, and that perhaps you could do something really cool together and build both of your brands?
And might I suggest that those are the types of things, the three live feeds or whatever you do together as social media posts, that is laid out in the agreement ahead of time. You really want to make sure that anything that is going to take your time is listed out in the agreement, so that they're not asking for a little bit of this. I used to represent Sugar Ray Leonard, and we had to account for all of his time. A lot of people would ask at the last minute, oh, could he just come over and do an autograph session? And the answer was always no, because you needed to spell that out in the contract ahead of time. You know, if you want this, then we're going to have to move you to this package where it includes all of that. So really make sure that your time is documented well on your agreements.
And Jane, just to add to that, so something else that I had to do in that contract that we had to really work out is that I also taught a clinic. Well, don't forget, my clinic, that was a 1-hour clinic. That's also what I do for a living, in terms of that I teach golf schools, and that that's my content. And so I had also said, you know, that that whole clinic can so they wanted to use it, kind of create a sizzle reel, and I said, yeah, that's no problem, but you cannot film the entire clinic. You can film maximum 2-minute bits. There has to be a 5-minute break. Then you can film another 2-minute bit at another 5, because if they have that's your whole content.
Intellectual property becomes a thing. And so make sure that you're protecting your IP without, and I'm thinking you do it beautifully without being a diva or seeming as a diva.
Absolutely. And that's so when we were going back in the contract, and I needed them to add that to the contract, and I just said, you know, because they could at one point in time, if they decide to do a subscriber channel, and they now own, it's their video, they own that content, and so they have people who are paying to be subscribers, and now, or they do a course, and they can include my entire video, which is my, as you said, intellectual property, and I'm not getting any residuals or payment from that. That just hurts your brand.
That's why the writer's strike is now over, because they just got some residuals on their own intellectual property that's going to stream forever and ever. So, okay, I'm so curious about what types of groups. Oh, I want to offer one also, the idea of being an in-house, being sponsored by somebody to go in-house. One of my clients was actually the in-house wellness coach for Ping golf clubs in Phoenix. And my husband and I got to go there and get fitted for Ping.
Oh, Ping works. I've been there.
Oh my gosh.
It's incredible.
So talk about, like, who would have thought that Ping golf clubs had a wellness coach? Not only that, they bring in all kinds of spiritual advisors, depending on what people want, you know, a priest, a shaman, whatever. And they had all of these programs set up to keep their people happy. And I think that that is something that you wouldn't think is happening in the world, but it is. And I think knowing that, oh, well, maybe there's an opportunity for me to do 2 days a week somewhere that would, as an in-house, whatever it might be. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Talk a little bit about what types of clients are hiring you. Are you seeing yourself doing a lot of women's audiences? Are you seeing yourself do mixed? Because I'm thinking the dudes are loving you as well, because they can't hit it as far as you.
Well, you actually nailed it, Jane, because I think for any of your female speakers who are listening or watching, typically female speakers knock it out of the park with a female audience or a predominantly female audience, but find it much more difficult at times, depending on your topic area, in a mixed audience. And that's one thing that I'm very fortunate. So the women, I absolutely connect with, because first of all, I'm a woman up there on the stage kicking butt. You know, I'm a woman who's kicking butt in a man's world out there, because a lot of women, we know what it feels like to be one of the only women in the room or in our industry or whatever it may be, so that they see, okay, if they can see me doing that, they can see themselves doing that. So I find that's really successful. But on the other side, the guys look at me. I'm 5'6¾". I can hit the length of 3.5 NFL football fields. I'm telling stories about meeting Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and Gary Player, and they're like bought in, and they want to. So that's where I'll get the respect from the guys as well, because of the topic. So as I'm sure all of your viewers know, as successful speakers, to be really great at speaking, you have to be an amazing storyteller. And it's, for me, I just feel that being able to, now I definitely have heard speakers out there that are very content speakers, and that might, you know, can hit that hard line the whole time, and maybe haven't shared too much in the story realm. But for me, the speakers that I have seen that have been super successful, or the type of speaker I am, I think storytelling. So I think the better you get at storytelling and being able to find those stories that really resonate with your audience, men, women, and then if you know you have a predominantly female audience, or there's predominantly male audiences. So you ask who I've been speaking to lately. Funnily, I was just hired for a speaking engagement in Vancouver, and it was an 80% male audience, so which was really interesting, more in the construction industry. But here's the other thing, is as a keynote speaker, especially at conferences, what else could you add? What's your value add? So my value add is I went out and I went to the golf course with the group after, because they had a golf component. Many conferences have a active living component, and so golf can often be incorporated. So and I've done clinics when I'm at a conference. So I do my keynote speech, and I have a separate fee if you want me to come do a clinic or be part of your tournament or play with the president or whatever it may be. So what else can you offer your clients when you're at these conferences or conventions? Or I actually just had a school board reach out to me, and they want to hire me as a speaker. But then they said, Lisa, I noticed on your website, perhaps you could do a breakout session about golf, because we're trying to get our teachers to find balance and wellness. And how do we, and then golf is again, low impact. You can do it in your 80s. It's fresh air, it's outdoors, it's social distancing. So, but then also the lead time, Jane, I've also found shorter. Like last week, I just agreed to an event in 3 weeks from now in San Francisco, and that's in the banking, finance, tax area. So really, for me, it's been all types of industries, all types of audiences.
That's amazing. What type of topic are you doing? Like, what's your most popular topic?
So my signature keynote is entitled Drive Determines Distance. And so I basically share my story of how I went from a high handicap recreational golfer that couldn't break 100 to save my life to rank number 2 in the world in long drive. And so basically that topic, it definitely has that inspirational, motivational bent. But in it, I share tips, pointers, secrets to success in terms of resiliency, longevity. How do you create that longevity? You know, the ability to take a left-hand turn in your life. You know, all of those things that have helped me come second in the world, and not just be successful in my sport for 1 year, 2 years, but it was to be in 2020. That was to be my 20th World Long Drive Championship appearance. So how do you create peak performance over an extended period of time, which of course is relatable to all businesses?
And what a great title, Drive Determines Distance, all works perfectly. And you know what, if people aren't interested in golf, they might just apply these same ideas to something else that
Oh,
they want to go and
absolutely.
do in their life.
And
So
Jane, it's funny you say that, because at one of my keynote speeches, I came, the conference organizer, I went to her afterwards and she said, Lisa, I have to share a story with you. She said, a lady came up, knowing that you were a golfer. She saw in the program that you were a golfer. And she said to me, oh, great. She goes, oh, I have to listen to a golfer. She goes, I hate golf. She goes, oh, and she had a bad experience with golf, and her spouse was always golfing, and she was the
yeah.
state, state. And she's like, oh, great. How boring is this? And then the conference organizer thought, oh my gosh, like, what if this is the sentiment of other people in the audience? Well, that same person came back after my speech and said, oh my gosh, I was preparing to do my grocery list and my to-do list for this week. She said, I was hanging on Lisa's every word. And
Oh, that's
what happened is, so meaning that if you are a good storyteller, if you are able to give key points and strategies for peak performance or whatever your topic area may be, it doesn't matter if you use golf as your stories, hockey as your stories, construction, whatever it is, it can relate to your audience if you can bring it back home.
Yeah, and the technique is to turn it around and make it about them.
Correct, about
maybe
them.
golf isn't your thing, but this could be. Maybe you don't want to be the long drive champion, but maybe you want to conquer whatever. Yeah,
Correct.
so there's a lot of things that that work really well. You know what? I knew I was going to love talking to you. I think so highly. I love watching you on social media. I've loved seeing what you've been doing, and I wanted to have you on the show ever since I saw you on Hockey Night in Canada. So here we are. It took a while. And I want to say thank you so much. Lisa, if people want to get in touch with you, what's their best kind of first move?
Oh, best first move, probably through my website, which is just simply lisalongball.com. On there, I have all my social media channels, but I've got my email, my cell phone number. So happy to help in any way, to help out. And Jane, if I could leave your viewers with one more tip, those videos that I did, I was getting 600 to 700 comments a video per video, and I was doing them 3 times a week. Jane, I responded to every single comment. And if you want to know a secret sauce, if I can pass on to your listeners,
yes, please.
They appreciate it. And I did it because I was so appreciative. People were reaching out and telling me how much they enjoyed it. I thought, well, how do I just respond to the ones that say, oh, you're like my COVID girlfriend, Lisa, you've made a difference, or, oh, I love this so much. So I responded to 700 comments every single video. And Jane, that was a game changer. So make sure, if I can pass on anything, making sure that you're thanking, responding. Correct.
Engage and connect.
Don't just post and leave. Post and leave. You have to make sure.
Connect. And you know, when somebody comments really quickly and you comment back really quickly, that gets the algorithm ball rolling. Like, that's what makes more eyeballs get on whatever it is that you're posting anyway. So you really want immediate response, and you want to be on top of it pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. That is a great gem to leave us on. Thank you so much. Go to lisalongball.com to grab more information. We're going to post in the show notes that video of you in your hockey gear as a goalie. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Lisa. And for that, we'll say, see you soon, Multi Speakers. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.